on a discuté avec Pamela Anderson pour la sortie du film The Last Showgirl et on en a profité pour parler de l'impact de sa carrière.
All my life experience, it's in Shelley. I mean, you can see it in her eyes. You can't hide anything on screen. So I know when I see the film, I was like, whoa, you know, that's a lot of information. I mean, we draw from our life experience, but then the character just kind of becomes her own being. And so it feels like you're not a part of her at all. You know, just like when you're watching a movie, I mean, somehow you mix energies and you become the character that you see on the screen somehow. And I feel like there's a little bit of mystery in this movie. We shot the film in 18 days. It was a very short shoot, and it's a very short film, even though it's a full-length feature, but it's short on the short side. It leaves room for you to dream up what happens next. I like that about the film. I think that really strikes her in the film and really catches her off guard when he says, you know, you're a real legend, Shell. And, you know, I just get chills because, you know, she has wanted to be seen and to feel that kind of love, you know, amplified to her makes her feel special because, you know, she's been living in the moment, living her dream, but for someone to say that was really special. And that one time I remember in the dressing room when he says that, kind of caught her off guard while she's sewing. Sexy to me is, I think, just being your own person and full of surprises, unpredictability, sensuality, and fun. And for me, it's not the dirty circus. Not like Shelley doesn't think so either. I am very sensitive to exploitation of women, and I know that may sound interesting even though, you know, I was in Playboy and I was on Baywatch. I felt like that was fairly innocent according to these days' standards, even though at the time it was a little risque. I think now it's, you know, things have changed so much, you know, when it comes to acceptability of, you know, nudity and what people show on film now. Again, times have changed. That's when you start feeling like, you know, you live in the past. I love that this movie is not exploitive in any way, that it's about a woman and her flaws and her wearing her heart on her sleeve and not being a pushover, but having this character be so interesting to watch without being naked or violence against women, or even though, you know, those are films that are popular. I like that this film is it's just raw and real and complex with its relationships to her daughter and to her the family she creates in the workspace, sisterhood. I don't know. I mean, I'm happy that women have their choice to do the films that they want to do, and that there's a lot of opportunity out there right now. But, you know, it is funny. I always think that's the same group of women always working, right? There's this, you know, SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, is full of members that are, you know, they're not all movie stars. It's nice to see people that you're familiar with and love in films, but it's also nice to see new people in film. And I'm glad that the cinema is still alive and kicking. I watched this great documentary on Criterion Channel, which I love, 666 and 999. It was all my favorite directors talking about the future of cinema. I don't know if it's women or men or whoever it is. I just think it's really important that we keep making movies. And I think artists are the freedom fighters of the world. I think every woman is a movie. I also think that anything that has happened to us doesn't need to define us, that it's what we do that should define us. I also feel like, you know, I've had some difficulties in my life, and I feel like I finally have turned a lot of those events into fertilizer, and we can plant a new garden. And I think the metaphor for life is a garden, and to see it constantly being renewed and start again, and that it's never too late to start again. It's never too late to pick up where you left off. You know, it's funny, I did Barbed Wire when I was 27. I watched it for the first time just the other day, in French, with English subtitles. Because I thought it was funny, I just wanted to kind of see the visual. My son wanted me to watch it for a certain reason. My kids are 27 years old. And I felt, wow, I didn't think about it that way. I felt like I stopped and I had kids, and now when they're 27 and 28, I've started again. Even though I kind of did a lot of crazy things along the way, this is really the happiest and most fulfilling time in my life. And I never expected it, which is the fun part. Jamie Lee Curtis. Annette will survive. Brenda would survive. You know, we'd had this conversation before with Annette. We don't know about Jodie or I think Billy will survive. My daughter will survive. But we think that because of her youth and because of the trajectory of the industry, we worried about the Jodie character the most. I don't know. You know, Barbed Wire might survive. I don't know. Shelley, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if she would. She's a vulnerable character. She'll survive.